this is Kelly with the Children's Museum of Sonoma County, and we're here for our Sierra Nevada edition of Art Adventures. We're out near Lake Tahoe, and for this week's art adventure, we're going to be using our imaginations and our creative skills to make little elf houses for... Alright, so our supplies for this art adventure are going to be a little bit different than what they usually are, because I'm going to ask you to just look around where you are, and that's where you're going to find your supplies. So when I take a good look around, I have a lot of sticks here, and we're going to learn how to make a log cabin design with these sticks. I also see that I have a lot of pine needles, which are just fantastic. I'm not sure yet what we'll use for these, but man, they're really cool, and they smell really good too. I also have lots of pine cones around, so maybe we'll incorporate some of those. Some pieces of bark from a tree. You can feel this bark is really rough. I wonder what the bark where you live is like. And you can also see on the other side of the bark, maybe you can see where some insects have been. Maybe some nature investigation there. And I also have little pieces of the pine cone. So these kinds of pine cones you can actually take apart, and most pine cones you can, and they have these little individual, almost like tiles. They're really beautiful. So maybe we'll use those. And when you're thinking about your house, you might first look around you for what kind of materials you have. Maybe you have flowers. Maybe you have grass where you live. Maybe there's ice plant. And then we're also going to think about, use our imagination and think about what kind of houses do our elves want to live in. Elves usually are little, so I'm going to make a house that's pretty small. And maybe as I'm going, I'll think about different kinds of design ideas. You might get ideas as you start building. So first step, let's collect some sticks, and I'll show you a really cool way that you can build a house with a log cabin type of design. So after you've started to gather some of your materials, you'll also want to choose a place that you're going to build your house. And I think right next to this tree is a really fantastic spot for a little log cabin elf house. So that's where we're going to build. So you start with 2 logs perpendicular and then stack 2 more logs going the opposite direction on top of those first 2 logs. And then you just repeat the process. So you'll add 2 more logs going the direction of the original bottom logs, and then add 2 more on top of that going the opposite direction, and you keep stacking until you have your walls as high as you would like them. Alright, so we've built up the basics of our cabin. We have some walls, and it's pretty rugged right now. So now I'm going to start looking around for different supplies and different materials that I can use to make this a cute and cozy little home. And I'm also going to think about the roof and what kind of cover I want to have on here. I recruited my #1 forest helper to help me find sticks and pine cones, and we're going to use those to decorate. So one thing that you might want to think about for your house is a door. And I had sort of forgotten about a door and started putting all these pine cones up, and then I found this little piece of bark, and that's going to be my doorway. So I wonder what kind of doorway you could make. Okay, so I've decorated the front of my house a lot. I have a nice little garden area out front, and man, you could just keep adding to that and adding to that as your creativity allows. But now I think I'm gonna start to work on the roof. And you could do a roof in a lot of different ways, and I wonder if you could think of a different way than I did. But I think that I am going to use a big stick and lean it against the tree behind me and go from there. So let's see how it goes. So I leaned one big stick against the tree behind me, and then I'm just piling smaller sticks next to it to cover up the top here. So when you're building your roof, this is a really interesting and fun exercise in patience and in balance, because these sticks, they're gonna have to balance just perfectly as they lean against this supporting beam here in the center. Or maybe if you have a different way that you built your roof, maybe you're in your own balancing project. And sometimes when things balance, they can fall, right? So you might have a stick that falls. Maybe you have a lot of sticks that fall. And then you have an opportunity to try again and just keep building and exploring and trying different sticks and different methods until you have something that you love. Okay, well, we finished our elf house. I hope you guys had fun building your own elf house. And the fun thing about building like this is that you can just leave it out in the woods and it can just disintegrate, or the elves can come live in it as nature decides. And if you're in a place where that is okay and your parents or caregivers say that that's okay, then go ahead and just leave your creation up as you wish. And I hope that you enjoyed being outside and playing with some natural materials and being creative in your building style. See you next time.